meeting. The meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. The whole of the meeting will be recorded except where there are confidential or exempt items. If any member of the public attending the meeting objects to being filmed, please advise us immediately and we'll ensure that you're not included in the filming. Members of the public and the press may record, film or photograph or broadcast this meeting when the public and the press are not lawfully excluded. If you are intending to do so, please tell the committee clerk. May I please request that mobile phones are switched to silent or turned off and your laptop speaker is switched off. I'll give you a moment to do that. Okay, if you hear the fire alarm, please leave the building immediately via a fire exit, not using the lifts, and make your way to the assembly point at Ipswich Town Football Ground just across the road. Some introductions. We have today the Area Planning Manager for Babergh, Mark Russell, our Legal Advisor, Ian Dupre, our Case Officer, Jasmine Wild, and our Governance Officer, Claire Philpott. We don't have a ward member in attendance today. We will move to the agenda, please. So first is apologies for absence and substitutions. Do we have any apologies, please?
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from Councillor Elizabeth Malvisi and Councillor Margaret Maybury, and we have no substitutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, to receive declarations of disclosable pecuniary interests and other registrable and non-registrable interests by members. Are there any declarations, please? No. 3, declarations of lobbying. Now, I think I can do this for all of us. All regular members of the committee received a message from one of the applicants earlier in the week. Can I take it we all got that? Yeah, whether you've read it or not? Okay. So we will declare that as lobbying. Thank you. Any other lobbying to declare? Thank you. 4, declarations of personal site visits. Any to declare? Okay, thank you. And number 5, confirmation of the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of August, contained in the tabled papers. So these came a little later behind the agenda, which I hope you've been able to see. Are there any points regarding the accuracy of those minutes, please? No? Excellent. Can I have a proposer to accept those minutes? Councillor Wyman, please, and a seconder, Councillor Osborne. Thank you. And we will have an electronic vote on that.
Thank you, Chair. Members, that vote is now in progress. Councillor Beer, can I take your vote verbally? Thank you. Thank you, members. Chair, that's 9 votes for. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good. Number 6, to receive notification of petitions in accordance with the Council's petition scheme.
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Site inspections, Area Planning Manager.
No request, Chair.
No requests. It's going very well so far. Okay. Number 8, now the meat of the meeting. This is to consider application DC 25 00608, land to the north and east of Bobbitts Lane, Wherstead, Suffolk. And I'm going to invite the case officer, Jasmine, to introduce the application to the committee.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. I'm presenting an application for the erection of 2 warehouse units today at land to the north and east of Bobbitts Lane, Wherstead. Members are reminded that this presentation should be viewed in conjunction with the committee report and not in isolation. The site is located to the north of junction 56 of the A14, with the A137 running along the eastern boundary and a dense woodland located west. The site extends 6.28 hectares, with the northern portion of the site being primarily left undeveloped, except for an attenuation basin which is to serve the site, which I'll show you in later slides. In terms of constraints, the site itself is not that constrained. It is within the project area of the Suffolk Coast and Heaths National Landscape, and the actual national landscape is located to the east, shown by the green shading. There are several public rights-of-way around the site, so to the east and south of the site, as shown by the dashed green lines. In terms of planning history, it is particularly relevant in this case. In 2020, outline planning permission was granted for a flexible commercial use on the site, which covered use classes B1C, which is light industrial, B2, which is general industrial, and B8, which is storage and distribution. This flexible use mostly arose out of the application being speculative at the time. As part of that permission, roundabout upgrades were approved and have since been installed, turning the teardrop roundabouts adjacent to the site into dumbbell roundabouts. This was modelled and assessed by Suffolk County Council Highways at the time to accommodate significant HGV movements from the development, and also a petrol filling station and drive-through, which were also approved at the same time to the south of the site. In 2021, reserve matters for the site were granted, and this permission, importantly, remains extant as the development was commenced. So just to take you through kind of the original permission, just as a kind of comparison. So originally 4 units were approved on the site in a kind of campus-style layout. The elevations of Unit B are shown on the screen there, and this design was kind of replicated across the site. Landscaping was concentrated around the southern and eastern edges of the site, and the attenuation basin was to the north. And then moving on to the proposed site plan now, this proposes 2 large adjoining units with service yards facing eastwards and built form pushed back into the site to the west. Access would still be taken off of the originally approved roundabout, and the amendments have essentially been necessitated by end users now having been secured for the site, with differing requirements from the originally approved units. So zooming in on the site plan, Unit 1 would provide a total of 120,337 square foot of floor space, with a dedicated yard area to the front. Unit 2 would be slightly smaller, providing a total of 107,797 square foot of floor space, again with a yard area to the front. Across the site there would be 73 parking spaces in total. This is under the Suffolk County Council's parking requirements, which requires 140 spaces. This has, however, been considered by Suffolk County Council Highways, who are content that the proposal is still acceptable and would not have any impact on the highway network. They have specifically accepted this given the proposed travel plan, which includes minibuses put on for employees by the applicant. And also, they have considered other instances where Suffolk County Council Highways have accepted lower parking provision on B8 commercial development, specifically in mid-Suffolk. And one such site is Port 1, which is a comparable site which the applicant also currently operates in Great Blakenham, and has done for a number of years with no parking or highway issues arising as a result of the lower provision. Now looking at the elevations, so here are the proposed front and rear elevations of both units. As I say, they join one another, so you can see Unit 1 and Unit 2 kind of shown by the, I don't know if that's, so Unit 1 is this section here, and then Unit 2 is the other section. There is a glazed single-storey office element and loading docks. A mix of 3 materials would be applied, including cladding in anthracite and slate grey, and a mixture of opaque and clear glazed panels. The roof would be covered with a number of roof lights, and 1 row of solar panels is currently proposed to be sited on the roof. However, a condition is proposed to increase the level of solar provision once the energy requirements of the 2 occupiers are known. Here are the side elevations. There is no denying that the units are quite a large massing on the site. However, this is reflective of its functionality as a B8 use, and is typical of other units along the A14 corridor and similar to those also at Great Blakenham. The proposed landscape plan does somewhat aid this massing, helping to soften its visual impact and better enclose the site. The landscaping to the southern boundary of the site would be much improved from the original, and a bund is proposed along the southern and eastern boundaries to increase the overall height of the landscaping. The council's landscaping consultant raised no objections subject to conditions to further enhance the landscaping provision, which will form part of the overall recommendation to members. The proposed bund would hide a large proportion of the hard standing in service yard area, so you can see there's kind of indicative sections here with an HGV. And it's also to soften the views from the A137 and the roundabouts. So here are some images to help show the elevations and landscaping together. The red outlines show where the buildings under the original permission would sit in relation to the amended proposal. The top image is looking westwards at the site from along the A137, and the bottom image is looking southwards into the site from the Ipswich direction. For the reasons set out in the committee report, the recommendation is therefore to grant planning permission. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. Admirably clear. So members, you have the opportunity to ask questions of the officer. Remember, questions need to be relevant to the point, for clarification, or to ask for further details. Councillor Grandon.
Thank you, Chair. I have two questions, if I may. Thank you. One, please can you indicate where the nearest residential building is?
Sorry, slide 3. I forgot that was in there. So the nearest residential properties are along the street here. So you've got Wherstead Park just over here, and there are a number of residential properties here. There is also a large development by Bellway that has been undertaken down here. So they're kind of the two closest residential areas.
Lovely, thank you. And then my other question is, are you happy with the solar panel aspect of the application? Because in my opinion, it feels like this is an opportunity for, it's an industrial site anyway, or industrial application. This will be an ideal situation for the whole roof to be covered in solar panels.
Councillor Grandon, so I think we've got your question. You're beginning to debate now, so if you just ask about the solar PV.
The question is, are you content? Because I don't think it's enough.
So that is a concern of officers and our climate change consultants as well. So I think Ecolytic have been the ones providing the response earlier in the committee report. We are proposing a condition to require that the solar provision is reviewed, and that would come in as a discharge of conditions application, which we would then consult with Ecolytic again to make sure that they actually are maximising, one, the roof space for solar panels, and two, making sure that we increase the solar provision to, I suppose, accommodate the development and the end users. So there is a condition that's requiring an uplift in that number, and I think the applicant has indicated that is likely to happen anyway. For a contrast, Port 1 also has got pretty much all of the roof slopes covered in solar panels. Again, it's just gauging how much energy usage is going to be required by the end users. So once they are aware of that, they can then accommodate the solar panels accordingly. So there is a condition that I think that solves that problem.
I'd like the opportunity later on in debate to talk about this matter, if I may, please.
In debate is the right place to do it. Thank you. So switch off. Thank you. Any other questions to Jasmine, please? Councillor Register, then Councillor Wyman.
Yes. In the officer's report in section 4.5, it says an internal 3-metre footway cycleway is proposed to link to the existing footway along the Spine Road and has been extended to run through the site to better connect the units. But I can't see that on any of the drawings.
Sorry. Yes, yeah, sorry. So I think it runs along sort of this area here and then continues, if I actually go back to the large one. So it sort of runs along here, all the way along here, and then it connects, there's a footway here, which is that main Spine Road that already links into the site from the roundabouts that were previously upgraded. So it's linking essentially all the way from here and down. And there is a crossing point that was installed as part of the roundabout upgrades just down here, which then links into that public right-of-way over here. And then there is also footway, cycleway provision within the petrol filling station site, which then also links onto that public right-of-way to the south as well.
Councillor Wyman?
Thank you, Jim. Jasmine, great report, really full and detailed. Just one small question. How did we derive the colour scheme for the warehouses? I believe there's a process we go through to look at that.
Yes, so the colour scheme is something that specifically is assessed by our landscaping consultants, so Place Services, and also the National Landscape team. So because it's in the project area and is almost immediately next to the National Landscape, it is of particular importance that those colours accord and work within the specific character area. So that's something that they've both looked at. They did have initial concerns about the colours proposed, and I think they were amended as a result of that to make sure that they were then happy with those colours. Originally they were a lot lighter, and I think again that caused some concerns under the original permission. So that's how we've ended up with these colours.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 23 of the report, point 8.4, please, with reference to lighting, it says the Environmental Protection Officer requires a polar luminance diagram which can be conditioned to better assess the wider impact. Perhaps one might be concerned that that doesn't include and mitigate.
Yes, so in terms of the lighting scheme, what we would propose to do is a condition that's kind of a notwithstanding the current lighting scheme, the lighting scheme, including all of the additional information is submitted to us. If it was then that we're not satisfied that there's, necessarily mitigation around the lighting to prevent light spillage, for example, that's something that we would then go back and either refuse the condition or additional information would be required to make sure.
Right, thank you. Yes, given this its proximity and the elevation next to the... Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. Will the cycle parking provision include charging areas for electric bikes?
I don't think it's currently shown that they do, but that's certainly something we could expand and include as part of the cycling provision condition. That's fairly straightforward for us to do.
Thank you. And I have another one. I didn't spot anything about areas where employees could go outside and sort of have their lunch, have a wander around. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, so that is something that's not currently shown on the site plans, but it is something that our Place Services landscape consultants have raised. So it is proposed to be conditioned as part of the landscape plan, I believe. So yeah, hard and soft landscaping scheme, including tree planting, rest and seating areas. And that was incorporated into the original, so it's completely achievable.
Thank you. Any other questions to Jasmine, please? All okay? Good. Thank you very much. So we'll move to our public speakers. We don't have very many. No one from the parish council, nor an objection nor a supporter, but we do have the applicant's agent, Rachel Dixon. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to say what you'd like to say, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. Jasmine's report to committee has provided you with a comprehensive summary of the proposals, how it complies with relevant national and local plan policies, and that there are no objections from any internal or statutory consultee. This revised application is a joint venture between the freehold owner of the site, Pigeon, and Curzon de Vere Limited, the developer of the successful Port 1 Logistics Park at Great Blakenham. It has been the subject of pre-application discussions with officers. The site already benefits from planning permission for commercial development. That permission has been implemented and can be built out at any time. This revised proposal seeks full planning permission for 2 Class B8 storage and distribution units. The means of access and the developable area are identical to the extant scheme. The key difference is the size of the units, with 2 larger units replacing 4 smaller units. This is not a speculative scheme. It has been designed to meet the needs of 2 local businesses that need to relocate, otherwise they will have to move outside of the area. There are numerous benefits of this revised scheme that will deliver, including the site lies adjacent to and is accessed directly from junction 56 of the A14. The applicants have a track record of delivering quality Class B8 floor space within the area. The Council's evidence base demonstrates that there is a demand for warehouse space along the A14, a strategic transport road. The development will create up to 120 additional jobs. The improvements already carried out to junction 56 support the development of the site. Highways England and Suffolk County Highways are satisfied with the revised proposal. The development will retain and enhance existing boundary landscaping. This includes a bund and new planting on the eastern boundary and planting to the south and north of the developed part of the site. On-site biodiversity net gain will be delivered. The applicant has worked closely with Wherstead Parish Council to seek to resolve their concerns on screening and fencing. The development will be undertaken to the highest sustainable standards and will include PV provision, water efficiency measures, electric vehicle charging points and cycle facilities. The Port 1 electric shuttle minibus service provides regular morning and evening services, operating a circular route visiting Great Blakenham, Claydon, Ipswich Town Centre and Port 1. The route will be extended to serve the application site. We hope that members will be able to support this revised scheme, which will deliver significant benefits to the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you be happy to take questions from members if they have any? Okay, does anyone have questions for the agent, please? Councillor Beer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You said that there'll be 20 additional jobs. If we were minded to approve this today, how quickly would you get this all up and running so those 20 jobs were accessible to the public?
It was 120 jobs, actually, sorry, 120. Well, as part of the construction process, it could be delivered fairly quickly. I would say reasonable time frame would be between 6 to 12 months.
Thank you. Any other questions for Rachel? Councillor Davis.
Thanks. The minibus that is picking up employees and dropping them off, is that an electric minibus?
It is, yes.
Okay. And my other one is around biodiversity net gain. Can you give us an indication of the percentage improvement you're expecting from your current planting schemes?
Yes, it does exceed the minimum 10% required. I think we are proposing 14% as part of this proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Wyman.
Morning, Rachel. Just a quick question. We talked about the PV on the roof, and also balancing the sort of power demand for the business. Really, would it be your intention to say fit like lithium-ion batteries and things to hold power that you create during the day? Because I assume that you'll be working a sort of 24/7 almost operation there. So, is that a possibility, or is that something in your plan?
It's certainly going to be explored as part of the detailed condition that is intended to be attached to any permission, and I know that's something as part of the detailed strategy that would need to be submitted and approved by the planning officer as part of a condition application.
Thanks, Rachel.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Grandon?
Thank you. As we're now talking about PV, at the moment in our papers it says you'll be providing 10% of what is standard, and you'll be looking to provide more, I see. What is stopping you kind of covering your whole roof with it and putting energy back into the grid? I'm sure my colleagues know more about this kind of thing than me, but surely that would be a good objective to try and put, instead of solar farms, this is a new industrial building would be the ideal site for helping to put energy back into the grid, providing more than just your future requirement, and helping our environment in this way. Could you tell me the chances of that, please?
Yes, of course. I know that the energy requirements do depend on the end user that will occupy the units, and that will certainly be looked at as part of the condition, the details to be submitted and agreed with officers. But our intention is to seek to provide as much as possible and seek to ensure the highest possible sustainable standards.
Sorry, as much as possible, do you mean more than would be the use of the future occupier?
That certainly is our objective. It does depend on the end user, but we would be working closely with them to meet their requirements and see if we can identify more than what would be sort of normal.
To return energy to the grid, eventually.
Potentially, yes. I can't confirm that, but it is something that the end user would need to confirm as part of their commitment. But as part of the condition details, those matters would be sorted out and agreed with officers.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions to Rachel? Okay, thank you very much. So we now come to the debate segment. Councillor Grandon did bag a slot. Would you like to take it up?
Thank you. I visited the Great Blakenham warehousing site and was very impressed with that. Not as part of this was part of a group visit. I was very impressed with that. And I do like the sound of this proposal, but my only concern is I would like to see it conditioned that not that they meet the needs of the future user only in terms of PV panels, but that they add to that. I don't love seeing so-called solar farms, but for me, this is a perfect opportunity to provide that kind of additional energy into the grid when you've got an industrial building that's new, where we have the opportunity to condition something that helps the impact to the environment. It's a nice application. I'm happy with it, but I think it should be. This is an opportunity to add something as well. I'd be interested to see what my colleagues think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can we just check on a technical matter? Is it possible to add such a term to the condition on energy?
I think in terms of the current application, the current proposal, with the condition. I think it does cover everything. We can just expand the wording of the condition to make sure that we are looking to maximise that level of solar provision. The problem is we are tied by our policies. They're looking at, reducing and mitigating impacts of climate change, which they are doing. Obviously, we would like them to go further, and that is something that we can secure by condition. And I think the other point is there is also a separate condition requiring the buildings to meet the BREEAM Very Good standard as well, as part of our policy. And sustainable construction, I think, is another condition. So I think we've covered it from a lot of different angles, and I'm satisfied that I think that condition could be expanded to really make sure we get the most out of it.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're, as always, constrained literally by the literal terms of our policies, so we need to be a little bit careful, I think. Do you want to come back, Councillor Grant?
Thank you. I just want to say that at the moment, the condition seems to be saying that it just meets the needs of the future tenant, but not go beyond that. So are we not able to do anything beyond that then, please?
I don't think we could explicitly say as part of the condition, because it would be going beyond policy requirements. In terms of feeding it back into the grid, that is also, it is typical that surplus is fed back into the grid. The problem is now that the grid actually needs to be upgraded in order to accommodate that additional energy that's coming through anyway. So it's something that we could possibly expand the condition to include, exploring battery storage on site for the end users. That's something that we could possibly include, and also looking at if they can feed it back into the grid. But I think we have to be mindful that it's possibly not actually possible.
Okay, thank you. Right, I think we've dealt with that one now. Councillor Beer, you were next, and then Councillor Register.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, referring to the previous speaker, I don't think we can ask for more solar panels because the member doesn't like solar farms. I mean, solar farms may have a place in the right area and what have you, and should be considered on their merits. We're not discussing solar farms, and the panels that have been suggested, and we've heard from the officers, and I'm sure the legal expert could tell us, we've gone as far as we can go. Yes, we would like more as possible, and hopefully you would encourage people who are ending up using these sites to put more on if they can do so. They'll certainly have enough to make sure that they don't have to pay electricity bills, and if they can generate more, they will try and then supply that to the national grid. I don't think we should be unreasonable on this, Mr. Chairman. I think the officer's gone as far as they can go on it, and that is acceptable, I believe. But you've got some word in there for the future. The applicant's agent is in the room. She's heard the concerns. I'm a firm believer that they will go away and bear those points in mind and perhaps try and accommodate more or as much as possible. So I would have no problems in recommending this approval of this application. And one of that and other reasons, but Councillor Osborne and I were here in 2020 when this originally came forward, and one of the criteria that it got through was the employment, and that's still there, and the neighbourhood plan supported it. There's been no objections. I think that the view that it could be up and running within 12 months and people could be having jobs there is all good. And I have no problems with recommending approval of this, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Ask for a seconder. Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much. Councillor Register next, then Councillor Rees.
I have no problem with this application. I just want to clarify some issues concerning PV and covering the whole roof. Having looked into this as part of a community energy company that we've had experts and engineers and technical advisors looking at this very issue of covering all of the complete roof, so you're providing more than the demand of the site. It's actually technically and legally extremely difficult to feed. If you produce 5 times more energy than the site will use, the other four parts of that energy, it's extremely difficult to feed that back into the grid. It's also difficult legally to make it happen. I don't think we should have a condition that makes that necessary, because it might hold up the whole project for 18 months, 2 years. There is apparently even more of a complication because of some treasury changes. So I would not recommend, although I agree that we should have every roof covered in PV. It's not practical in this situation at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. A good point. And I think Jasmine has made it clear what's possible under the conditions within our policies. Quite like not to go round that again. So if anyone has something different you want to talk about, that would be lovely. Councillor Rees is up next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I would just like to give my support to my colleague here. As far as employment is concerned and the history of this, I'm minded to agree that this application should be granted, providing that the strictest lighting policy is adhered to. Yes, thank you. Yeah, providing that is the case, given its proximity to the the national landscape and its elevation there, that the strictest criteria need to be adhered to in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Davis is next, then Councillor Carruthers.
Yeah, mine's a fairly small point. Is around cycling. If we want to encourage people to cycle to work, and these warehouses are, quite close to Ipswich, so it's going to be perfectly feasible, assuming people are employed to work in those warehouses and live in Ipswich, to cycle. But it would be great if the cycle storage facilities are secure and covered and do have the electrical points. You don't want to get on your electric bike and see you've only got 2% left to get home with, because that's not going to happen, and it does need to be covered. Otherwise, you turn your cycling helmet up the right way and all the water pours out, and again, that's not great. So you need good facilities to encourage people to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Carruthers.
Thank you, Chair. To carry on with the subject of cycling, I was concerned about access for employees, that although there were places to park bikes, there didn't seem to be any cycle lanes anywhere nearby, but was reassured looking at the map and hearing that there will be a crossing across the A137, that cyclists could actually go down Bourne Hill, which is a much quieter road, so that makes cycling there much more feasible than I realised. And I'm also pleased to hear about the electric minibus, which is a fantastic idea. So, yeah, I'm happy to support the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'm happy to support this as well, and I agree with Councillor sorry, Peter. Councillor Beer. Just went out in my... Sorry, so I apologise. The one thing, 3.17, I should have possibly have asked a question earlier on, but obviously I've come from a background of apprenticeships and skilled work. Will this, exploring the apprenticeships I'm very happy with, will that involve skilled work? And are we able to get an answer back on that one?
Okay, well, if you just switch off your mic.
Sorry.
Ask Rachel, would you be able to answer that question about the provision of skilled jobs?
Yes, as part of the application submission, there is a employment training package that has been submitted. for consideration, and it's something that our applicant is keen to promote. And yes, there is an element of skilled work as part of the scheme.
Yeah, I take it we will explore the position of our youngsters, our younger generation, to get these apprenticeships.
Yes, very, very definitely. There is a big commitment to getting youngsters or young people into apprenticeships and skill them up in the area. And as part of the training package that was the employment skills and training package submitted for consideration, that is certainly a key element of this scheme.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Wyman.
Thank you, Chairman. If the debate is coming to a conclusion, I'd be pleased to second Councillor Beer's proposal, subject to any conditionality that we feel we've secured.
Okay, thank you very much. Assuming no one else has any contribution to debate, we have a proposal proposed by Councillor Beer, seconded by Councillor Wyman, to grant permission in line with the recommendation. Yes.
I think the only amendment there is that members have asked that the cycle parking provision make reference to EV charging. That's the only change, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So as the proposal is as outlined in the report, plus electric cycle provision and charging. Okay. Are we happy to go to a vote on that? Okay, you happy with that, Claire?
Thank you, members. I'm just updating that. Okay, that should now be ready for you. No, let me press start and then it will. Okay, Councillor Beer. Approved. Thank you.
Approve.
Thank you, members. Chair, that's 9 votes for. That's unanimous.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. So that is the conclusion of formal business today. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, the 1st of October. I'm going to close the meeting now, but if I ask members to linger a moment, I've just got an admin point I want to raise outside the meeting, if that's okay. Thank you. The meeting is now closed at 10:15 a.m.